Good vertical video, neighbors. Been very quiet for quite a while. It's not that things haven't been going on worth talking about, it's how to talk about them is a challenge. Why to talk about them is a challenge. But just some quick updates. Things to, if you Googles, and avoid the conspiracy places, websites. Here's some nuclear news. NuScale, which is a home player. They're based here in Oregon, office in Portland, a whole college committed to them in another part of Oregon down in Eugene, where some of the design work, engineering work, and a lot of the control system work was done. So basically, what NuScale did, what all these small modular reactors are doing, is boiling water still. There's nothing new about them. They're just smaller. It's a smaller design, making them smaller and more efficient. I can't speak to the safety. We don't know anything about the safety of these things. We do know other SMRs done back during the war times, installed in places like Alaska, Arctic Circle, Greenland, somewhere in Canada. Russia used these SMRs to power lighthouses. Russia made nuclear batteries to use in flashlights and radios, mostly radios. Communication equipment is what they were meant for because they were very long lasting, and they still are if they're around, but supposedly they were collected. But we're getting back to that. We're getting back to conversations about nuclear batteries. This industry has been able to wait a generation for people that are aware of nuclear follies to die off. They have the money to do this. So back to NuScale. NuScale apparently has lost a deal in Idaho with INL for the first installation of actual production small modular reactors. But along that bumpy road, and like every nuclear project we know of, the price doubled. And it probably wasn't done doubling. So those cheap small modular reactors that still boil water are being considered, are being sold. So that was Idaho I mentioned. You can go find out where else on this round friggin' planet these people are selling these small modular reactors. This nation's being forced into what's called interim storage to store nuclear waste. And by labeling it interim, they have tried to work around some laws about nuclear storage, nuclear waste, moving these casks that they've been putting them into of whatever sort, and there's a few of them. So NuScale, back to NuScale, stay on topic here. NuScale had another adventure for small modular reactors to power a Bitcoin factory. Now, if you don't know what a waste of energy Bitcoin is already, then you should do some Bitcoin waste of energy checking. Because all the money in the world right now does not run through Bitcoin. It's an unnecessary thing in many respects. And it's a huge waste of electricity, of power, of energy, better used elsewhere. So this NuScale outfit had contracted, partnered with them, whoever they are, to power their planned server farms that are required to run the Bitcoins. Massive energy dumps. So they want us to boil water we really shouldn't be using for drinking and not boiling into the atmosphere. Look at the heat exchange information on a nuclear reactor. Converting atomic energy into steam. God, we've gotten nowhere. We have gotten nowhere in these nuclear reactor arena. So NuScale, this upfront American corporation, had done that Bitcoin contract, agreeing to use Bitcoin to finance whatever that boondoggle was going to be. Building nuclear plants with Bitcoins. There's some irony in this, or there's some disgust, or there's some where are the regulators? Where are the constraints on these people's ideas that ought to be talked about? So, that's a bit about NuScale. Just a bit. There's a lot more. That NuScale is two very billionaires, multi-billionaires, billionaires that got even richer while we suffered the vagaries of inflation. While we were worried about dollars and cents in the grocery store, these folks are raking in billions of dollars in their money stores. All Bitcoins aside. This is outside this. So, yeah. Yes. So, NuScale is not the only player in this. You can only imagine the amount of jobs related to this. Now, mind you, they're temporary jobs. Huge construction crews are needed to build these facilities. Huge construction crews for a building that takes years to build have to live somewhere near where that new build is. So there's got to be empty housing. There's got to be housing for all these temporary workers. And maybe half of them will stay in the community. Maybe a quarter of them will stay in the community. The other half or 3/4 are going to move on to the next job, maybe. Or they're going to start chasing a job because they're out of work in your neighborhood. These are big things. This is life cycle analysis for decadal, generational life cycle analysis of the impacts of brilliant ideas. Things to think about, things to vote for, things to notice if politicians can speak about these things. Vaccines work. There's little choice in vaccines. Who do we trust more? Some irate politicians screaming up and down the aisles of Congress, or professionals that have committed careers and lifetimes to studying and ensuring that there are boundaries on medical treatment, right? This idea, this constraints placed upon things. There's physical constraints, mental constraints. Have faith, folks. Be good. Peace is out.